idea to kind of show you the difference between what is good branding and what is bad branding. Now, as a lead into this, I will say this is a little bit tongue in cheek. Uh, Hopefully, you see the humor in it a little bit, but there are points here that need to be made. Yes, these are different products. This is not, there's a lot of consumer products in these examples, audience differences, obviously, things like that. But remember, we're just doing this to illustrate some points, right? So, getting right into it, let's take a look at the first company, Coca-Cola. If Coca-Cola advertised the way that MSPs do, this is typically what you would see. Uh, Here's our logo. We're your trusted soda manufacturer. And there you have a little meet the CEO because we all want to know who's making our soda, right? And a little bit of background on James Quincy. None of this screams to me that I want to go out and get a Coca Cola. It's lacking any substance to the brand. It's not engaging me in any way emotionally. What does Coca Cola actually do? They show you pictures of people enjoying the product, they show lifestyle. They show things that engage you on a level other than this is what we do. And that's what MSPs are failing to do right now by and large is their core message is we are an IT company. In a competitive market that just doesn't do it, right? So just to this is a setup for another joke because there's so many MSP websites that look exactly the same. This is Pepsi's website. So you run into this with MSP websites. You go from one to the other and it looks like you're almost looking at the exact same company. That's another thing that you don't want to do. A brand differentiates you from your competitors in some way. And it's important not to think about differentiation just as what do we do? Like, oh, we all have the same solutions, therefore we can't possibly differentiate. That's the wrong way to look at it. Brand strategy answers that question. That's why it's important. There are lots of ways you can differentiate, and a big one is through customer experience and who you align with. Audience alignment is a big part of what we talk about and what we do because that is where a lot of the emotional component of a buying decision comes from. And that's what companies like Coke and Pepsi rely on, essentially. All right, so next company. Oh, DoorDash. Wow, we've all seen this stock photo before. I had to put this one in there because for some reason the IT channel is absolutely obsessed with the idea of the businessman pulling his shirt open to reveal that this company is going to save you. We rescue you from drive-through lines. You know, of all the fake ads that I made to try to demonstrate these points, this one's actually the closest one to something that might actually work. I mean, it's not it's not DoorDash's brand though. It's not you don't go to be rescued from drive-through lines. There's other aspects of that relationship with DoorDash that they play on because they're far more powerful than this idea of boom, DoorDash to the rescue. But a lot of MSPs are still, and I just saw a brand new company, saw an ad on my LinkedIn feed yesterday that they had the dude ripping open the shirt. Here's their logo, and man, we're going to come save the day. It's at this point a gimmick. I mean, like I don't know how people are still thinking that we're going to do this Superman thing and it's going to really blow people's minds. It does one thing that branding is supposed to do. It does convey very quickly a concept, and the concept is that we are going to save you from something because boom, Superman. However, there's a lot more that needs to be said. I mean, that's just such a surface layer communication, and we don't like it because everybody's doing it. I mean, at the end of the day, if 10 different IT companies in your area have a Superman guy, there's no point in you having one. It just doesn't at that point provide any kind of a uniqueness to what you're trying to sell. BMW. I can't tell you how many times that we've had a client or somebody we've been talking to when we talk about what do you want to be perceived as, what do you want your brand image to be, they immediately jump to we want to be the BMW of IT companies, and then they're in their mind. I think they approach it like this. Because they start to throw out words like white glove and like telling the consumer that you're high end or that you're awesome or that and see that just doesn't work because BMW earned being BMW. They earned it through performance. They earned it through support. They've earned it through races. There's a lot of background and history that allows them to be the BMW of cars because but you can't just say I want to be the BMW of something and say I'm a white glove automotive company or IT company, and then think that that's actually going to translate over to what the consumer perceives from you. It has to be backed up with a lot of things, customer experience being one of them. If you want to be that high-end company, you need to stand out in some way as being high-end. And good customer service isn't enough because every MSP is striving for good customer service. What makes you different? What gives you the right to say that you're the BMW? And of course, we put the stock photo there of the guy's hands on the steering wheel because, you know, how many MSPs have a picture of somebody sitting at a computer? That would be the equivalent of this on a BMW ad. Here's some hands on a steering wheel. This is not how BMW sells cars because that's not how you build a brand. Here's my favorite one, Gold's Gym. You will never see Gold's Gym do an ad like this, but you'll see 500,000 MSPs doing the Meet Bob. Meet Bob is I can't help but laugh at it whenever I see it. I mean, it's the idea. It's basically like somebody said, okay, narrative selling. You want to tell a story. You want to turn the buyer's journey into a story, and they took that literally, very, very literally, and actually put a long, meandering, boring story about Bob on their website, or they made a video about it. You know, this is not how you engage with somebody emotionally. You're still rationally thinking and thinking about it like I have to put them literally into a story on my website and then they're going to get it. This is so on the nose. It's so the execution is typically so bad. But this is a thing that MSPs love doing. Meet Bob. He's been struggling with his IT. Oh, he hates it. This is the things that he experiences. And he's so sick of dealing with it. Now he called us and Bob is happy and boom, Bob's great. Everything's wonderful. And it's that completely literal idea of story-based selling. It doesn't need to be that way. Gold's Gym communicates the exact same thing without making you read 2 pages of Bob's story. A lot of brands do. That is the purpose of having an actual robust brand, is that it communicates value quickly, not making you read a story about somebody who you made up. And so this is my favorite one because I mean this could have just been ripped from the pages of an MSP right here, right? Nike. This goes back to the IT company's propensity for just kind of focusing on this idea of we are an IT company. Nike says we make shoes, and then listing out what you specialize in or what solutions you offer. Our shoes are best in class for running, basketball, football, rugby, casual wear. They do not do that. That is not how that is a bulleted list of information. And we say over and over again that marketing, good marketing, should not be focused on delivering information. What it is meant to do is engage someone, often on an emotional level. Nike puts you in the shoes by showing you people using them, by coming up with various sub brands and categories within what they're doing that appeal to different types of people. And that's what branding is. It's a matter of aligning with your audience, getting them to feel a relationship with you immediately. That instant communication of rapport, that building of rapport. That's what you're trying to accomplish, and Nike would never ever get there by saying we make shoes. And the old maxim for website design was always you absolutely at the very top of your page need to make it super clear that you're an IT company. To a degree, yes, but you don't. You always want to clearly communicate what your offer is, of course. But coming out and just saying we do IT in blank area or we make your technology work, that does not convey anything other than information. And that's what we're trying to get away from. We want to engage. We don't want to inform. Informing does occur during the marketing, lead gen, sales process. But when you're trying to instantly get somebody to relate to your company long enough to stay on your website and say, this is somebody I want to read their blog post. I want to get their information. I want to talk to them. I want to do a free cybersecurity audit. I had to put that in there. Contact us for a free foot audit. Why? Why would you? There's nothing here compelling me to want to work with this company. And that's what MSPs, they fall into that trap of thinking that the only thing people want is information. The only thing that my audience cares about is that I can inform them. And while there's a certain aspect of that that's true, it doesn't matter as soon as every other MSP is thinking the same way. Now you have to step above that. You need to come away from that pack, that status quo, and stand out. And you don't do that with information. And McDonald's. This is an illustration of kind of this idea that putting verticals, industry verticals on your website is somehow tricking people into the idea that you specialize. Who we serve. McDonald's doesn't have to sit there and say, we serve kids, we serve adults, we serve healthy people, we serve the elderly. They do because of what they offer. Their offerings are contextualized to who they serve, and that's what matters. It resonates with them. They have kids meals, they have salads, and they have senior discounts. The offer tells you who they serve, and it resonates with them at the same time. And this over fascination with industry verticalization on websites is more of a, I think it must have originated as an SEO thing. I mean, putting those keywords on your website has value in that regard, but no one is going to see, especially with every other MSP doing it. They go to every website, everybody specializes in everything. Where's the specialization? Unless you're actually showing that you bring some kind of value to that audience, you're not really serving them. You're serving everybody. And so this illusion of specialization really does not get you very far. And so you have to really think about verticalizing in layers. It's important to make sure that there's a layer of value, not just a layer of I'm saying it. And yes, it's not always, you don't always have to serve every vertical. And if you feel like, man, I need to open up to other industry verticals because I'm not getting enough in the ones that I'm in, maybe it's because you're not delivering enough value in the ones you're already in to be compelling to that vertical. More is not always better. Sometimes it's better to optimize and actually nail down what you're providing to the ones you're already working in and get that built up, and then, pivot into something else using that same type of strategy. And are you hungry? Our hamburgers are made to satisfy your hunger so that you can focus on what matters. That doesn't matter. It's not. It's explaining what you do. It's explaining what a hamburger does. But is that why anybody buys a McDonald's hamburger? Is anybody driving around thinking, man, I'm hungry. I need to put nutrition in my body. Well, let me go to McDonald's because their hamburgers are going to solve my hunger problem. It's not that. That's not how the decision-making process works. There is so much irrational human emotion that goes into every decision that people make, and it really does always come down to people. It's easy to write this off and say that this is all goofy because it's consumer products, it's shoes and hamburgers, but there is one common thread in everything that marketing does, everything that business growth is. It's that humans always make the decisions. At the end of the day, there is always a human somewhere making a decision, and that determines whether you get the sale or not. And if you don't engage with that human and compel them, build some kind of relationship, show them that you're aligned with them, do all of these things that a brand strategy is actually intended to do, you are missing out on opportunities. That is the fundamentals of actual marketing. I mean, going all the way four quadrants, not just talking about promotion. You are trying to align what you do with a need, communicate that you uniquely satisfy that need, and that is the foundation of business. And so hopefully looking at kind of this is what brands would look like if they advertised like MSPs, illustrates that a little bit, helps you see that there is something missing in the way that MSPs are marketing right now. And that's one of the biggest hurdles right now, is that a lot of MSPs don't recognize that there's something wrong with what they're doing or the way they're doing it. But if you put good branding side by side with bad, it becomes a little bit more evident. You start to see, wow, this is just information. It doesn't make me want to do anything. It's horrible. And to a degree, that's essentially what most MSP marketing is. It's just a deluge of information that's driven by this notion that you're going to push every conversion, you're going to drive every sale through information, through the sheer volume of good information that you can put out there. And the ideas of thought leadership and authority are far deeper than that. They're far deeper than here's some information, especially when you're all sharing the same information. Again, it's a competitive market now. you can't just get by on awareness. Awareness means very little in a competitive market. You need to establish deeper relationships. You need to make someone aware of something more than that you just exist. And that is why branding, real brand strategy, not logos and colors, real brand strategy does that. That's why it's always been an integral part of business, not the IT channel, not just this, not just that. It is an integral part of growth, and you really want to make sure that moving into 2021 that you start thinking about this and how important this is in a modern business to take things like this seriously and get that communication where it needs to be. Get it on par with the $1 million companies, because that's how the $1 million companies got there. They didn't McDonald's didn't run terrible ads until they suddenly had billions of dollars and then said, "Okay, now we can afford to build a brand." These companies get their success from their brand. That's where it comes from. So put the cart behind the horse where it belongs, and you're going to find a lot more success in what you're doing with your marketing, because that's how it's always worked. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.